Hello, everyone. It's Philip Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. Today is the 13th of April. It's 2023. Our topic today is the tragedy of being woke. Click on the subscribe button down here in the lower right to subscribe to future episodes, and also the notification bell in the far upper right to be notified when they are released. Okay, so let me go ahead and get started with this. This only indirectly impacts the Civil War because I'm going to address wokeness as a general philosophy. It certainly affects the Civil War because we know the statues, the Confederate statues, are coming down primarily because of this wokeness philosophy. But let me address it more generally. Okay, the tragedy of being woke. This is pretty shocking. Norah Vincent was best known for her book, Self-Made Man, which described her experience of living as a man for 18 months. Although a 5'10" lesbian with a Butch personality, she was not transgender. She used cosmetics, short haircuts, male outerwear, and an underwear of chest binding to appear as a man. No surgeries or drugs. She joined male affinity groups, dated as a man. The relationship didn't last long, but she dated women as a man and picked up women at bars. Her purpose was to better understand, quote, male privilege, close quote. In the end, she learned that it was women who are privileged and, quote, don't have a clue, close quote, about understanding men. Her discovery was such a shock that she went into a deep depression and took her own life last year at the age of only 53 via assisted suicide in Switzerland. Her sad story should be a warning to America's cultural leaders obsessed with trying to change reality with false victimhood mythology. In short, she was a dreadful, awful victim of woke ideology, a tragic victim of woke ideology, which is, quote, a state of awareness only achieved by those deluded enough to find injustice in everything except their own behavior, close quote. In truth, Vincent did not need to impersonate a man to learn that they are not privileged. She could have questioned the increasingly intense misandry taught at university over the past 50 years. Notwithstanding her own professionally aided suicide, Norah could have learned that men are 4 times more likely to take their own lives, account for 70% of the homeless, represent 90% of workplace fatalities, and 80% of all murder victims worldwide. Conversely, women initiate 70% of divorces, 90% if they are college educated, and collect 98% of the alimony. Nonetheless, due to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, female college graduates are more commonly hired by corporate America for even the most important jobs, so long as those jobs don't require demanding skills. According to Price's Law, for example, half of the work of a company is done by the square root of the number of employees. Now, as an aside, that was why Elon Musk was able to fire so many people at Twitter. Only if you have 10,000 employees, only 100 of them are doing the work, half the work. The other 9,900 are doing the other half. There's lots of people you can get rid of in that other half. Okay, so even though Price's rule is applicable, we consider that in corporate America, even the most important jobs are taken by young women out of elite colleges, so long as those jobs do not require demanding skills. An example, I want to say demanding specialized skills. An example is the female-dominated marketing team at Anheuser-Busch that is insulting their predominantly male customer base by rebranding Miller Lite as a beer that promotes males who impersonate women. Now, the lady that heads that team, and it's basically a team of women, the lady that heads it was a graduate of Harvard College. She went to graduate business school at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. That's her background. Now, a few years ago, a female marketing executive at Gillette also insulted their mostly male customers by running a Super Bowl ad that portrayed the natural male proclivities as toxic. Sales of the applicable products in both companies dropped, but as far as I know, none of the women were fired. Perhaps they were not even criticized in the corporate tower populated by elite college graduates. In contrast, consider the emerging but likely future gigantic domain of artificial intelligence. Almost 90% of AI researchers are male. The startup companies that will result from that will also be male dominated because the elite female graduates avoid small companies where Price's Law shows that one's lack of productivity is harder to disguise. It's time to stop the delusion. Okay, and keep in mind that it is this woke ideology that is driving the destruction of Confederate monuments and actually driving the destruction of Southern history, the cultural genocide of the South. Now, I'd like to recommend that you get my latest novel, Firepower by Phil Lee. You can get the paperback version for $13 at Amazon. I think the Kindle version is $4. Now, if you want it autographed, and email me, the cost then will be $17, but I will cover the postage to you if you're here in the United States. And you should email me, Phil, P-H-I-L _Lee, L-E-I-G-H @me.com. Firepower is a novel that describes how repeating rifles were introduced into the Civil War and why, even though they were invented before the war, it took them time to get into the market. The hypothesis is that the chief of ordnance for the Union was skeptical of them, which is true, factual, and that he was encouraged to be skeptical of them because of some work that was done by the spies for the Confederacy. Okay, that's the story. So if you'd like to get a copy of that, I mentioned to you how you can get it, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for watching.